Well, tubers, tubettes, and the naturally crazy people, is it better off to just be single, especially as we reach our golden years? Or do we need to be in a relationship with someone? Well, I'm going to explore that. And to be honest with you, I find more good points to being single than to be in a relationship. So that's what's coming up in this little video. I'm pretty sure if I was to take a survey of anybody and everybody that was watching this video right now that has been in a long-term relationship with a significant other, that at some point in time in that relationship, you didn't look at the person you're attached to and said, what am I doing with this person? Why am I with them? I think I would just be better off alone. I would be better off single. And I got to tell you, you won't get any argument from Polyboy here. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It is much better, in my humble opinion, to simply be alone rather with someone that you disagree with, who injects drama, expense, angst into your life. You just don't need it. And you would probably just be better off alone. I'll go over what happened to me and maybe you'll relate to it. When I was married in America, I was married to someone that I simply wasn't compatible to. Not ex-wife bashing. She's who she is, I'm who I am, and we did not mesh. We rushed everything. That was the mistake, and I won't belabor it. So I stayed with her and she stayed with me primarily for the sake of the kids till they got old enough to be on their own, and then we went our separate ways. And I was single for 10 plus years in the States prior to moving out here to the Philippines. And I must tell you, I was in my glory. I loved it. I'll go over some of the things that I discovered. Number one, I discovered that I really kind of liked myself. I was no longer being put down or belittled or told what to do or how to do it or what I was doing right or what I was doing wrong or where I needed to be or what I needed to get done that day. That happened at work, but once work was done, I was my own man and I really, really loved it. It was like basking in sunlight. I was in charge of, number one, my finances. So let's face it, boys and girls, one hamburger is a lot cheaper than two. And so just on the financial aspect of being single, you're much more in charge of your bank account than if it's hooked to another person, especially if that other person is not contributing to the bank account and it's solely your money. And that is, in the Philippines, usually the situation. But we're still in America for a moment. I was 10 years single, and what I found was I was okay with my own company. I didn't need to have somebody in the house. In fact, I liked being alone. I could make myself laugh. I could call people if I wanted to, if I needed someone to talk to. If I was in the mood to get together with somebody and not hang out by myself all day, it was, again, just a matter of calling somebody and say, hey, you want to go grab some lunch today? Or you want to go play golf? Or you want to, just hang out and get a cup of coffee, whatever. And I would do that. That's primarily what I do now as a married man, but I digress. Let's get back to being single. As a single guy, you can do what you want, when you want, how you want, without having to ever answer to anybody. There's no more checking in. If you leave the house, you have to pick up the phone every 2 hours and see how everything's going. And are you okay? And I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know where I'm at and what I'm doing. And you need me to bring home a gallon of milk. That was over with. As far as household chores or duties or cooking or cleaning, you can get married and have a wife, or which is very expensive in my mind, because you got 2 cars, you've got 2 insurances, you've got 2 meals, you've got clothes to buy, you've got medical to take care of. The list goes on and on. However, you compare that to cooking, cleaning, and taking care of, general maintenance around the house. Well, you can hire someone to come in, or I did hire someone to come in and just clean the house for me once a week. I can cook my own food, but if I couldn't, or if I didn't want to, I had the opportunity to go ahead and hire someone that not only cleaned the house, but would maybe prepare meals in advance that I could just heat up during the week, set up a system like that. And as far as maintenance around the house, I've always kind of liked puttering around, mowing the yard myself and all that kind of stuff. But if I didn't, hire that out. I know my wife would never get out there and, use a weed whacker. So either way, it was a win-win-win financially. Mentally, you have the ability of just freedom of thought, freedom of expression. What you want to see on TV is what you see. You're not changing the channel or turning it up or turning it down. You're not having someone yap in your ear while you're trying to watch your TV show or read your book or type a memo on the computer or whatever it is that you're doing. In other words, there's no one there buzzing around you like a fly that's annoying you. You have total freedom of thought, total freedom of movement, total freedom of your financial situation. And if you do get lonely for affection, I imagine that there are outlets that are available to a guy that he could avail himself of, and therefore doesn't need to be in a long-term committed relationship. Now, that may go morally against some people's principles, but I'll allow that information just to be out there for you to digest and take it for what you see it's worth. All right, so when I moved out to the Philippines almost 8 years ago, I came with like the 5 commandments of what I was not going to do. And on that list, high on that list, was I was not going to get into another long-term relationship, and here I am married. So, what happened to me? Well, what happened to me was I lived a single life out here for the better part of 2.5 years. I met my wife, baby May, who's now my wife, and took it very, very slow with her, unlike any other relationship that I'd been in America. And I found that she did contribute to my happiness, my health, and she did not contribute to my wealth, but at the same time, she has not been any kind of a major drain on it. So for me, I found what I feel is a good balancing act. However, if she was to, God forbid, disappear from my life tomorrow due to some unforeseen circumstance, I would not be one to rush out and look to be in another relationship. I would probably simply take my own, not advice so much, but my own wisdom and knowledge and experience of the past and utilize it moving forward from this day forward. Again, that was if the unmentionable happened to my wife and I was a single man tomorrow. I would not be on a dating site. I would not be actively looking for someone. I would not be telling my friends, hey, could you hook me up with your girl's sister or whatever. I would slide right back into the system, I guess you could say, or the habits that I developed when I was a single guy. Single is good. It's even biblical. And there was Paul of the Bible who said he remained single so he could dedicate all of his time to serving the Lord. So it's not something that you have to get married. It's not something that God thinks you have to do if you're a believer. If you're not a believer, it's neither here nor there. So, that being said, take the example of the biblical Paul and who wanted to serve the Lord. You can take that same example that he set and use it to serve your own needs. And you can simply take care of you. You can go to the gym. You can eat foods that are good for you. You can work on self-improvement. You can read books. You can find how to kind of get in touch with things that you never had the time to get in touch with, i.e. nature, human nature, volunteer work, the community. You can always find something that you can do to give you a purpose and to make you feel like you're contributing, so that it's not just a bunch of meism and what makes me feel good, but what makes me feel productive and what makes me feel useful. I think that is something that's much easier to do if you're alone, because if your spouse or your significant other is not on the same page as you as far as the community or generosity towards others, then you're going to get blockage there. You're going to get, I don't want to say it, you're going to get blocked to some degree, and it's going to be a bone of contention. So the question is, especially when you're older, especially when you're on a fixed income, I don't see how anyone could disagree that it's much, much easier to contain your finances within yourself. You know what your wants, needs, and desires are and how much they're going to cost. If we stick with just the finances, you don't have any clue what the wife or the girlfriend is going to come up with. Does her family need something? Does she need something? Was there an emergency that you didn't see coming? Well, if she's not working, it's going to be a drain. There's an emotional drain that people can bring into your life. They can have temper tantrums. They can have mood swings. They can have jealousy issues. They can be clingy. They can be insecure. And these are things that you really, really have to ask yourself, do I feel like dealing with all of that? Now, getting back to me being a married guy, I came over here with the notion I wasn't going to get involved. I stuck to my guns for 2.5 years. I met who's now my wife. We started a very long courtship, and to me, the juice was worth the squeeze. Is it more expensive for me to be married than not? A little bit. I'm fortunate that my wife is very, very low maintenance, and she's not a, Saks Fifth Avenue girl. She's a Providence girl, and she understands simple, and she appreciates me being simple in our wants and our needs and our desires. Are all of our goals and all of our aspirations on the same page? No. Do we have disagreements? Yes. Are we not always on the same page together? Absolutely. But you know what? I just set my foot down and I say, listen, this is my time. I have a finite amount of years left. You've got a whole bunch left. I'm going to do things my way, whether you like it or not. And she just simply agrees with me. She understands that. She says, I get it. You are entitled to it. So that's kind of a unicorn when it comes to a relationship, to have that kind of situation as far as the male-female dynamic. It's not a brag, it's just a fact, and I feel very blessed by it. But if something was to happen to her being my wife today, that was catastrophic, God forbid, and she was taken from me today, after that, in the future, I would not look to replace her or form or get into another committed relationship. I would definitely remain single. Not because of what she had done, but because how I know others can be, and the the sorting out process and the angst and the hassle and the dating, it just gets to be old. There's just, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. It's just too much. I'm too happy by myself. I can revert back to what I did when I was in the States. Hey, you want to go play golf? Hey, you want to go get a cup of coffee? Hey, you want to go get lunch? It could be male or female. Or better yet, I could just stay at home and be happy with myself as a single man. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll look forward to hearing about it in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video.